Hi everyone, happy Therapy Tip Tuesday. To start the video, I would like to introduce myself for those of you who may not know me. My name is Miss Rachel and you may recognize me from the East Yaphank and Islip locations. So for the month of October, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite tips and activities that I use in therapy to help you target speech and language goals at home. So to start off October's therapy tips, I am going to be speaking about dice. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some of the dice that I have used in therapy, as well as explaining how to use them to target speech and language goals. One of my favorite things about dice is that you can find one in almost every household, because almost every house will have a board game of some sort. So I found this in one of our board games that my family owns. And even if you don't have a board game, you can find dice sold pretty cheap at a Dollar Tree or even a local grocery store. Another thing that I really like about dice is that they can come in a variety of colors, sizes, and textures. So I found this one online on Amazon. It came in a pack of 2, and I really like that it's squishy and it's small so I could bring it between offices. And I even have this dice that my family has from a yard game that we have. So I like that it's a lot bigger, so we could use it for a variety of activities. So I have used dice in therapy to target both speech and language goals. So for speech, I have used dice for the purpose of determining how many times we will practice a speech sound. So say the child rolls the dice and they land on the number 2, they would have to say their target sound twice. And what I like about this is that you can use it for any level. So if you're working on a sound in isolation, you could say s, s, or you can even go to the word length. Another fun way to use dice in speech therapy is to have the child roll the dice, and depending on what number they land on, that's how many objects in the room they have to find with their target speech sound. So say I'm working on the t sound and I land on the number 3, I would say table, I would say TV, and I would say closet. If your room is pretty bland, like the one I am in, you can have the child roll the dice, and depending on what number they land on, that's how many words they have to come up with off the top of their head with their speech sound in it. Dice can also be used to target language goals as well. So say we were working on categories, I would have the child roll the dice, and depending on what number they land on, that's how many things they'll have to list within that category. It can also be used for similarities and differences. Again, they'll roll the dice and say they land on the number 2. They would have to list 2 things that objects have in common or that make them different. My favorite way to use dice in therapy is to transform the therapy room into a life-size board game. So depending on the goals that my child has, if it's speech related, I would use objects and place them around the room that have their speech sound in it, or I would print out words that have their speech sound in it and laminate them to create a path in the therapy room. If it's language based, I would have questions. Again, I would laminate them and then use those as the path for the game. So I would have the child roll the dice, and whatever number they land on, that's how many spots that they have to hop, and they will answer the question or say the word that has their target sound in it. What I love about this activity is that it gets the child moving and active in therapy, which is always great. What I've noticed while using dice during therapy activities is that the children really seem to enjoy it, since it basically transforms a simple task such as saying a speech sound into a more fun and exciting activity. It also gives the children a sense of control during therapy, since they are able to roll the dice, which determines how many times we're practicing their speech and language goals. So these were just a few ways that dice can be used to target both speech and language inside or outside of the therapy room. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's therapy tip, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week for another Therapy Tip Tuesday.